Okay, in this video I'm gonna try and make an outline of romantic poetry, starting from early romantic poets such as Thomas Gray and William Blake, and moving through first and second generation romantic poets till we deal with John Keats, a late romantic poet. Let's think of the historical background and the philosophical background of the last decades of the 18th century. American and French revolutions had changed the idea of monarchy. In France, the last absolute monarch had been sentenced and put to death. New ideas, brand new ideas, were somehow blowing thanks to the Enlightenment. So this is why romantic poets were obsessed with the idea of freedom. They were often anarchists, so they refused any form of authority, not to say of tyranny. And this all came from the Enlightenment movement. But before that, let's think of maybe the most famous philosopher of Enlightenment, of the Enlightenment movement, that is Immanuel Kant. At the same time, he praised reason as the most powerful skill that a man, a human being has, and in fact he says that reason can guide you when you are investigating the world outside, and it can also guide you when you're deciding what is good and what is wrong. So when you are learning and when you are acting, reason is your compass. Reason is your guide. But at the same time, after praising this almighty reason, he admits that there are some parts of understandable reality that reason cannot grasp, that reason cannot understand. Think of death, think of the mystery of the power of nature, when nature expresses all its power. Think of a volcano, think of a storm, think of the vastity of the ocean, of the sea, think of thunderstorms. What can reason do in front of such spectacles? The spectacle of nature in its almighty power. But even in front of some small things, and this is what Edmund Burke said in his treatise on the sublime. Why does a little thing as a spider, as a scorpion, terrify, scare us? Why is reason unable to keep us calm in front of such a small animal? Because these animals have something that is close to the power of nature, the idea of death, that is, they are sublime. Sublime is a word that has inside two words, sub and limen. That is, I contemplate my limit from below. So I am below my limit. So I recognize that I have a limit, and this is quite new for people like Kant, like Enlightenment philosophers. It's something new to recognize that you have a limit, that even reason has its limits. And the fact that we realize that even the power of our reason has limits, in a way paralyzes us. Think of Friedrich or Goya. Think of their paintings. The wanderer in front of this sea, in front of this foggy sky. We can see him from the back side of his body, so we can in a way identify with him. So the wanderer, the observer, are us. We are that man contemplating the storm. And how do we feel? We feel lost. And this feeling is also shared in Goya's nightmarish paintings. When Goya says that when our reason is asleep, our mind generates monsters. What are these monsters? They are produced by our subconscious side. That is what our reason, once again, the part of us, the part of ourselves that our reason cannot control. And this part, this dark side of our personality generates monsters. Once again, things that our mind, our reason cannot control. Think of Leopardi's L'Infinito. What happens? The hedge in front of him, the hill in front of him, in a way forces his eyes to be shut, and forces the poet to start imagining what can be beyond that obstacle. The fact that my eyes are closed and that my third eye is opened up generates this idea, this faculty of imagining, of creating, of figuring out what the infinity might be. And this generates some form of anxiety, because every time our reason is not able to measure, to control, we feel lost. But Leopardi says that it's a sweet shipwreck. When I feel lost like this is a sweet kind of shipwreck, because I start feeling that reality is not limited to what my eyes, my reason, my hands can control, can see, can measure. There must be something that transcends me. And this is a pleasant feeling once you get over the anxiety part, because at first sight you feel lost, and this may be somehow not comfortable. If you think about it, all romantic poets share this idea of letting themselves go. Think of B.B. Shelley and the Ode to the West Wind. So, second generation romantic poet. Shelley wants to be lifted. He wants to be lifted by the wind, as if he were a wave, as if he were a cloud, as if he were a dead leaf. and he wants the wind to play upon him as if he were a lyre, as if he were a trumpet. But what happens? Once he feels lifted, he says, I fall upon the thorns of life and I bleed. So, once the poet starts flying, it happens also in Giacomo Leopardi, when he says, io nel pensier mi fingo interminati spazi di là da quella, but then he says, odo stormir di fronde, that is, his ear hears the sound of the wind, and he finds himself once again back on earth after flying. And this is unpleasant because he was starting feeling comfortable in that new dimension. So the Ode to the West Wind shares this feeling of freedom, of being able to go beyond physical limits. The final message in the Ode to the West Wind is a positive one, because he says, but when winter comes, can spring be far behind? So this is basically the prophecy that the west wind plays upon the poet. The poet becomes a lyre, a musical instrument, a lyre, a trumpet. And the prophecy of the west wind is, once winter comes, and you can think of winter as a gloomy period of tyranny, can spring be far behind? So, can freedom, can a new life, can a new form of democracy be far behind? That's why the wind blows from the west. It blows from the United States. It blows from France. So this hope for a brand new world, driven by this new wind of change, this new wind of